Our panel tonight, joining me, former Victorian Liberal Party President Michael Kroger and former Labor Senator Graham Richardson. Welcome to you both. Look, let's start with this disturbing story in Sydney today. A bakery is the centre of a lot of media attention for posting photographs of what appears to be a Hamas-themed birthday cake. My colleague Caroline Marcus broke this story exclusively. Have a look.
This cake was prepared by a Western Sydney bakery for a 4-year-old. The child, dressed as a militant, appears to have had a Hamas-themed birthday party, complete with balloons, drinks and cupcakes.
Michael, this is a child's birthday party here in Australia. Is this appropriate?
Well, no, of course it's not. It's disgusting. And it's the type of grooming of young people that you'd expect to see in Gaza. We know from the school books and the other publications that have come out of there that these young kids are indoctrinated as soon as they get to primary school and onwards into secondary school. So that this has now come to Australia. This type of insidious grooming is a shocking thing. And it just shows you once again what sort of far left fanaticism has crawled out from under the rocks as a result of what's happened in the Middle East. We see all these extremist views at demonstrations, at universities, and now even at kids' birthday parties. So is this a significant worry that this type of mentality exists in Australia? It is extremely worrying, Shari.
And Richo, that's the concern, that, you know, we're causing even more, or not us, but that there will be even more division, even a further erosion of social cohesion in the next generation. We don't want the next generation to be bred on a diet of anti-Semitism.
No, we don't. But if you give succour and comfort to Hamas and those who support it, then that's an inevitable result. And I really think we've got to take some very strong action. I'd be looking at the immigration status of some of these people. Any way that we can get rid of them, we should. This is having these people.
But Richo, they're probably Australians. You can't kick out Australians.
No, you can't kick out Australians. I understand that. But if you can, if they're not quite Australians yet, kick them out. That's all I'm saying. If they are Australians, then all you can do is make sure that on shows like this, we can out-noise them. Yeah. Just make sure that we get messages across that are decent, that are proper, and just overrule them. That's all we can do.
You know what? Unfortunately, I reckon the parents who bought their 4-year-old that birthday cake are not watching Sky News tonight. Maybe the best we could do is give them all a free Sky News subscription so they can get a bit of an education on anti-Semitism.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Now, there's been speculation around an early federal election. I keep saying there's not going to be one. And today, the Prime Minister denied these rumours in an interview with Joe Hildebrand in The Telegraph. He said, I think 3 years is too short. What we're focused on isn't elections. What we're focused on is the need to provide that cost of living relief. Our immediate task is to get the job done and to get inflation down. Michael, he's in black and white there saying that he is serving a full term. He's not going to go this year. Do you believe him yet?
He can always change his mind. He wouldn't be the first to do that, Shari. But no, I'm with you. I don't think there'll be an early election. There has to be an interest rate cut, surely, before he has an election. I mean, he can't go to the election without a cut in rates. If there's a cut, it shows he can then say, look, we've got inflation under control finally. Things are getting better. Your best days are ahead of you. But it's got to be before the next budget, though. He's not going to hand out another budget. As sure as anything, there will not be a 2025 budget before the election. It'll be after. Why? Because Chalmers is Chalmers is trying to make his name on the basis, hey, I'm a superstar, I've had 2 surpluses. Before he has to say to people, on the other hand, I'm a duffer, I've now got $120 billion worth of deficits in the next 4 budgets. So he doesn't want that message to resonate. So he's got to run off the back of his 2 wins. So it's going to have to be it's going to be March or April next year, in my opinion, Shari.
I mean, there's still the mid-year economic fiscal outlook that's usually in December. There could be a mini budget, but my EFO means that those numbers, you know, can't be hidden. Richo, Albanese told Joe Hildebrand today that he's not going to go to the election until he's fixed the cost of living. But he might never call an election then.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might be a long time before we see an election. I'll be a long time dead in that case. But look, I think Albo's, I think he'll go a full term or close to it. I don't think that he sees any great advantage in going early. You always get some resentment if you try and do that. And everybody likes Albo, so why would he want to try and alienate any part of the community? He's a good fella. He should just keep going being Albo. That's all he needs to do.
Richo. Everyone likes Albo, except for probably 90% of our viewers, but yeah, everyone in your world likes Albo.
Richo, you've got to get out more. You've got to get out more, Graham.
Yeah, you've got to spend some time in the Sky News studio. And you know what? I do think he'll stay a full term. One, because I've got it on good authority from very senior sources. But secondly, if for no other reason, then he wants to keep flying around in Toto 1. He doesn't want to give up the perks of being PM anytime soon. Now, Labor today has seized on the CSIRO's latest report. It has painted a grim picture of how expensive nuclear would be. The report found that a large-scale nuclear reactor would cost up to $17 billion. It'd take almost 20 years to build, and it would produce electricity that would cost twice as much as renewables. Well, of course, Treasurer Jim Chalmers spoke about this today. Here he is.
CSIRO has completely torpedoed this uncosted nuclear fantasy of Peter Dutton's. You know, nuclear costs more and it takes longer, and Peter Dutton won't tell us where the reactors are going to go. It makes absolutely no sense for Australia to go down the nuclear road.
Michael, is this CSIRO report a problem for Peter Dutton?
Well, it's not helpful to him, but on the other hand, Shari, the CSIRO haven't got the credibility that they had 20 or 30 years ago. They've been very politically active in the last 15 or 20 years, and it's always on the side of political activism. I mean, don't forget, remember Tennessee years ago, that's 15 years ago, they were predicting that every citizen in the cities was going to run out of water. They were saying the drought in Australia is permanent. The Murray-Darling Basin was collapsing. They've sort of been on a global warming bent in the last 10 or so years. Is it a surprise they've come out against nuclear power? No. I think there are probably much better authorities that know a lot more about nuclear power, the nuclear industry, than the CSIRO, who've done a report on it. So is it helpful? No. But look, do people take the CSIRO as holy writ that they might have when I was younger? They absolutely do not, because they've been very much part of the sort of, screaming cultural left on these environmental issues over more than a decade now, and they just don't have the credibility they used to.
Now, Richo, I mean, we've spoken about this previously, and you've said you're open to nuclear. You personally, you're open to nuclear being part of our energy mix. But the polling shows that it's still pretty unpopular. Around 35% of people support it and an equal number don't support it. So the coalition does have a big job ahead of them to convince Australians that this is the right path.
Yeah, they do. And if they try to do that, they waste an enormous amount of time when they could be talking about some things that might actually help them get into government. And so I don't think Dutton's that stupid. I hope he's not from the Liberal Party's point of view, because if he is, then I think Albo's just coasting through to victory again.
Well, he probably is anyway, according to you, because everyone loves the bloke.
Well, that's the point. He's a great fella.